Welcome back to the program. Now, here in Nigeria, the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, has asked President Muhammadu Buhari not to seek re-election in 2019. The former president is asking President Buhari not to listen to his advisors concerning his participation in the election if indeed he wishes Nigeria well. In a 13-page letter to the president, Chief Obasanjo says, quote, President Buhari needs a dignified and honorable dismount from the horse. He needs to have time to reflect, refurbish physically and recoup, and after appropriate rest, once again, join the stock of Nigerian leaders whose experience, influence, wisdom, and outreach can be deployed on the side of line for the good of the country. End of quote. According to Chief Obasanjo, President Buhari has failed Nigerians in 3 areas of nepotism, poor understanding of internal politics, and buck passing. Chief Obasanjo also called for the formation of a coalition for Nigeria that will drive Nigeria up and forward. He says, quote, this coalition for Nigeria will be a movement that will drive Nigeria up and forward. It must have a pride of place for all Nigerians, particularly for our youth and our women. It's a coalition of hope for all Nigerians for speedy, quality, and equal development, security, unity, prosperity, and progress. It's a coalition to banish poverty, insecurity, and despair. End of quote. The former president, however, praises President Buhari's efforts at fighting corruption and insurgency, but adds that this is not the first time that the former president Obasanjo is writing to a sitting president in Nigeria, a similar thing he did during the days of former President Goodluck Jonathan. And Angola's former Vice President Manuel Vincent is in court for corruption charges in Lisbon. Although the trial is being held in absentia, the corruption and money laundering charges relate to alleged bribing of a Portuguese magistrate when Mr. Vincent was head of Angola State Oil Company Sonangol. Portugal has refused to transfer the dossier to Angola, saying it doubts the authorities there will pursue the case. The investigations have led to tensions between the two countries. Angola's new president, while Lourenço describes their action as offensive, Manuel Vincent has denied any wrongdoing. Well, an African music icon, HUGH MASEKELA, has died at the age of 78. In a statement released today by his family, Mr. MASEKELA, popularly known as HUGH, passed away in his homeland this morning in South Africa. Tributes have been pouring in to honor the music legend who was a trumpeter, cultural activist, and liberation struggle veteran and jazz musician. In a statement, South African President Jacob Zuma said MASEKELA's death was an immeasurable loss to the music industry and to the country at large. And in Togo, the women are adding their voices to ongoing protests against President Faure Gnassingbe's long-term rule. The women took to the street to demonstrate, calling for the president to quit. The opposition party has been holding protests since August, calling for an end to the 5 decades of rule by a single political family.
Thousands of women took to the streets of Lomé, Togo's capital, to call on the government to implement an agreed presidential term limit under which the president will step down next year. Dressed in mostly black, the women were joined by other supporters, chanting, ululating, and using cooking sticks to hit pots as they marched through the streets of Lomé. Since Togo's political crisis began in August last year, this is the first time women in Togo have mobilized to add their voices to the political crisis that has plagued the country for months.
Mr. President, enough is enough. It's not that we don't like him, but we need our freedom.
The opposition has held protests since August, calling for an end to 5 decades of rule by a single political family. Political tension have deepened in the former French colony in the last year, with a number of violent protests staged mainly in the capital. In October 2017, 4 people died in clashes between security forces and demonstrators. Opposition activists say they oppose a constitutional reform that the president proposed, which will allow him to rule Togo until 2030, and are calling for his resignation. As protests show no signs of abating, opposition members say they are determined to continue protesting until change comes.
Today we stand as women, as mothers, as wives, as citizens to say enough is enough. We are the ones who bear the brunt of this crisis. We stand united to send a message to the regime that we no longer want to see our children killed.
Hundreds were killed in the aftermath of the president's contested election win in 2005.
Always deplorable to see our women, our mothers, getting involved in politics in this manner. This is something that is going to disturb both sides. So each side must start working things out so that they can have dialogue and get us out of the crisis.
The Women's March may play a factor in bringing the opposition and the government to the negotiating table.
In Kigall, the Rwandan capital, streets were closed down for its monthly car-free day, where people walked or used bicycles to get around the city of about 1 million residents. The initiative was launched in 2016 to discourage people from using cars so they can find more energy-efficient means of transport.
For one day, every month, Rwanda's capital, Kigali, is a car-free zone. The government's initiative was launched in 2016 to cut emissions and keep Rwandans moving towards a healthier lifestyle. Kigali is already one of Africa's cleanest urban centers. The city of 1.1 million people has a reputation for order that is rare on the African continent. Without cars or buses, residents are encouraged to walk or ride bicycles. There's also a full-time car-free zone in the city. As part of the car-free day, the public can also take part in exercise and wellness activities organized by the city authorities.
I can't do everyday exercises, but when I meet like all the people here, so it's encouraged me to do more exercises. So I be happy in my health. Yes.
1, 2, 6, 7.
Minister of Sports, Julian Uwachu, said the government wants individuals within Rwanda and across Africa to adapt cleaner and greener living into their everyday lives.
The way we do it, we do it in our context. But sports can't be said it's an exclusivity for Kigali people or for Rwandan people. But the way we are trying to promote sport may be done in our context and our way, which means other countries, other people across Africa may maybe learn from what we are doing, improve, or just adjust this car-free day on their own context.
Since the car-free day was introduced in 2016, organizers said it has become a highly anticipated recreational event.
People are many and the numbers are increasing. So and mainly it's mobilizing of people around sports, but also people take advantage of making checkup to make sure that they are in good health.
Participants of the fitness sessions got free checkups and medical advice in the spirit of promoting a healthier lifestyle.
And on that note, we end today's program. Thank you for watching. I am BC Adebayo.